Welcome into NBA Closing Line with Ian Cameron, Ski Prophet, myself, Drew Martin. It is May 19th, Sunday. Happy Sunday out there. We got the game tonight in the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee at Toronto. We're breaking that down. We got best bets, 16 and 11, I believe, on the season. But hopefully we finish it with a 2-1 or 3-0 Sunday, and hopefully that's it. But let's introduce the guys. We got Ian Cameron at Babano on Twitter. Welcome in this Sunday morning, Ian.
Yeah, good to be with you. Victoria Day weekend in Canada. I don't know if that's going to make a crazier crowd than normal outside of Scotiabank Arena for the Raptors game tonight, but it very well could. It is a May 2-4 weekend, as we like to call it here on this long weekend. So, and obviously for the Raptors, a long weekend is going to become a lot longer if they don't win tonight here in Game 3 at home. So we'll be breaking it down, and good to be back with you guys.
Good to have you. And we got Ski Prophet, last certainly not least. Follow him on Twitter at Ski Prophet. Kept us from being 0-3 on best bets, man. We did go 1-2 yesterday, down day, but thanks to you, Ski, we did get the winner. Welcome in, man.
Yeah, it's great to be back here breaking it down with you guys again. And I see Paco says Drew just got back from church, so he's noticing you a little dressed up over there, Drew.
Oh, Paco, I appreciate it. I'm actually about to head to church, friend's wedding. So we'll be in, out, some entertainment, hopefully some winners on the best bets. But thanks for the props on the shirt there, Paco. Ski, man, let's come right back at you, man. Give the people what they want. Anything you saw from last night's game in the Western Conference Finals that you're going to take going forward in Game 4?
To take going forward in Game 4? No, I pretty much saw what I already thought. I mean, I've been talking about this series. I've been pretty harsh on the Blazers. I don't really talk that way, but I mean, I just don't really know why people are going against the Warriors. I think the Warriors are going to win the championship when they play the Bucks. I'm ready to back the Warriors with whatever the number comes out. I saw a tweet. It said that a look-ahead price was Bucks plus 120, Warriors minus 140. I mean, I think Warriors win easily.
Do you? Okay. And what about on Game 4? Just an early quick look here. Golden State looks like minus 3.5 or minus 4 at Portland, 220 the total. Off of last night's game, any early reactions to that line?
I would have to say my first thought, I said it with you guys yesterday. Is anybody thinking that Portland's going to lose that game and maybe win the next one? I think now everybody maybe thinks that Golden State is just going to win. And when everybody thinks like that, I tend to want to find a way to back the other side. And I know that Portland's been getting swept out the playoff year after year. So I know they won a couple series now, but I don't think they want to go out getting swept.
That is true. And Ian, what about you, man? Any early thoughts on this line, 3.5 or 4 Golden State laying in Game 4, 220 the total? Anything you took from Game 3 to use in Game 4 in that series?
That is not your normal adjustment after a team goes up 3-0 in a series. That is more than normal here. We're talking a big 5-point swing here, just about more than that from where Game 3 was and where Game 4 is right here. I mean, Portland was 2.5 point home favorites, and now Golden State in Game 4 is laying 3.5, 4 on the road. But as I often like to say, it's 1-2-3 Cancun seems to hold up year in and year out in this league. When a team is finished, they're finished. You know, what name me the team that has won when they've been down 3-0 in the series in Game 4. I can't even remember the last time that happened in the NBA. So, you know, it's going to be very, very difficult to find ways to trust Portland to extend this series. And, you know, that's now not just one, that's 2 just gut-wrenching losses in a row. I mean, for Portland. I mean, losses where they absolutely had a double-digit lead, were in control for 2.5 quarters at Oracle in Game 2. Pretty much that same amount of time last night. It was 2.5 quarters. Midway through the third quarter, the roof starts falling in on the Portland Trail Blazers. Steph Curry gets hot. Golden State starts making shots. And Portland all of a sudden tenses up, stops making shots. Golden State picks it up on the defensive end of the court. Draymond Green had a tremendous game last night as well for Golden State, and that's the key. You know, they've gotten always that other guy, Golden State, to step up, help these guys out. I feel bad for Myers Leonard. This guy's playing the basketball of his life right now for Portland. I don't know where it came from, to be honest with you, but he's been absolutely brilliant the last 2 games. But McCollum's been hit or miss. Lillard's just terrible right now. It's sad to see that. Now he's trying to. Now they're coming out with this report here that he's got separated ribs. I mean, I don't know. That's a little too convenient for me. Maybe he is battling through something, but why are we just finding that out now after he had a piss poor game last night? That's a little fishy to me. But nevertheless, something's up with Damian Lillard. Not right. Hasn't played well now for a couple of series. I mean, in large parts of the Denver series, he didn't play well. I think you have to go all the way back to the latter part of the OKC series in the first round as to find when Damian Lillard was playing his best ball here in the playoffs. It's been a while. And obviously, if he's not going, look where Portland is now, down 3-0 to a team that is playing as good as Golden State is. Can't have your best player playing as poorly as Dame is right now for them. So, to be honest with you, it's just I don't want to lay this at the feet of Portland. People are saying, oh, Portland choked again. Oh, Portland gave the game away. I think Golden State's taken the game from Portland the last 2 games. I think that's what we should be talking about. Golden State's just so good. They took the game right away from Portland more than Portland coughing it up.
Well said, Ian. And Tomar having some opinions here. Iguodala might be out. He's going to wait to see his status before betting the game. Also saying one opinion towards the other side. Golden State has a history of not playing great with big leads. Portland remembers being swept last year. Lillard is hurt, though. That could be a big step back for Portland being Lillard. Guys, we got to move on to Milwaukee, Toronto, but do want to give some love to the chat box. A lot of people in here. Paco, what's up, man? Ike Johnson, Mercury, Brandon Lugo, what is up? Happy Sunday morning in here. If you're liking the content, please give us the like button, the thumbs up sign. Red Girl, cash that Warriors money line. Welcome in, Red Girl. Good morning to you. Stackwop, Lance, Vegas Gun, morning to you. Dave in the house as well. Peter Russell, great rising bettors. Good luck to all today. Thumbs up to you, Dave. Paco, do they refund the horse that lost his jockey? Oh, man. And Ski, you were at the horse racetrack yesterday, right? Tell me about your time. I saw it on Twitter, man. It looks like you guys were having a good time out there.
Yeah, we're just having some drinks, betting on some horses. I just did like the main race. They were pretty much betting on every race, but we definitely saw the jockey get tossed as soon as the race started. And I was worried. I was asking everybody if it was my horse. But that was interesting to me. Last time I sat in that meeting, I didn't see anything like that.
No, that was fun. I mean, it was fun to see the horse racing out. Do any of you guys know? Because at first I was like, man, the horse is lighter. What if he wins? Like, does that horse get disqualified?
No, exactly. You can't win with a horse with no jock.
You can't. You're disqualified?
A horse with no jockey, I should say, yeah.
Okay, so even if he did win, you wouldn't win the race on that horse,
correct,
right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. It was kind of funny to watch, I don't know horse racing with no
It's like a rodeo term. He got bucked off. But you know what they say, though? The people that are involved in horses, we'd actually rather get fucked off than get bucked off. That's what they like to say, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that was a fun time, man. And anything you take away from the being at the racetrack there, Ski? Any good times you want to share?
Just that I enjoy it. I've done it 2 times now, going out to the racetrack and betting and drinking, just hanging out with friends, and it's a good time. And I definitely need to learn how to handicap the horses better so I can make some more money in it. But it's something I definitely look forward to doing more.
Absolutely, man. Well, it looked like fun and good crew out there in LA. Hopefully everybody's up early in the morning joining us here. And let's break down this game tonight. We got Milwaukee at Toronto. Toronto was 3, now -2 here at home. 220.5 being the total. Ian, this is up in your neck of the woods here with the team north of the border being favored -2 now. You think your Raptors can cover this too?
If they do, I hope they do. I wish them the best. I won't be betting them to do it. I'll tell you that right now. But I hope they do. It's simple. It's time to see if it's time for the shooting legs to arrive in this series for Serge Ibaka, for Marc Gasol, for Danny Green, for Fred VanVleet, for Norman Powell. Simple as that. If they don't show up, if the shooting legs are still, if they're walking around with no legs out there, it seems, and not shooting the ball well at all, not winning this basketball game, period. Milwaukee's supporting cast, we've seen it in the first 2 games of this series. It's not just Giannis. It's not just Chris Middleton. You had Brook Lopez take over game 1. You had tremendous performances up and down from everybody, it seems, in game number 2. It was a contribution by everybody for the Bucks and blowing out the Raptors in game number 2. Those are the contributions Toronto needs. Okay, you got by Orlando, and you got by, Orlando, everybody played relatively well. actually in that series for the Raptors. But Philadelphia, you got by the Sixers with Kawhi just basically carrying the entire Raptor team on his back. You're not going to get by Milwaukee that way. And it's not just because you're playing an even better team, an even deeper team in Milwaukee. Kawhi Leonard's starting to show fatigue. I'm really starting to think that, and you're now seeing why the Raptors were so hell bent on the load management during the regular season, giving him an adequate amount of games to rest and be as fresh and energized as possible for the playoff run. Because you could see that, for a guy that had been out of basketball for so long, they wanted to make sure that they weren't putting him in too many games, but all the minutes, all the load that he's had to take on for this team because nobody else has really stepped up consistently, starting to wear down on him. You're starting to see the three ball, which was really good for Kawhi in the last round. He's shot a lot of threes in this round, leaving them all short, if you're noticing. Like just grazing the front of the rim, not the kind of, shot making that we saw from Kawhi, particularly in the 76ers series. So that is why, even more than playing Milwaukee, a better team, you got to have other guys do something for you if you're the Toronto Raptors. To me, the better team is catching points here. Now, this could be that dig down deep, save your season kind of spot because you can't go down 3-0. But, I'm a little more reluctant here to bet that after what we saw with Portland last night. Is at some point, what if Milwaukee does what Golden State did last night? Hang around, keep it within single digits, third quarter into the fourth quarter. You just know the Bucks are good enough to put on that run and maybe tie the game or take the lead. And if that happens, the air comes out of the building in Toronto, Raptors get tense, get tight, and then Milwaukee, their confidence surges. So you really worry about stuff like that happening tonight. So I would actually take Bucks plus the points if I had to. I'm going to respect Toronto's home court because one thing I know from being in that building, being at a Raptors game, it's a great home environment. It's extremely loud. They get into the game. They're going to have the fans outside the building too, cheering them on. I'm sure that they're going to have to feed off every little ounce of that home energy in this game because they're going to need it. But simple, if the Raptors are going to win and cover, it's got to be people other than Kawhi finally helping out. If not, Milwaukee's going to win. So I'm personally, guys, passing on this game. I wish I could give you something strong on it. The total's the same thing. I would probably lean a little bit under the total, but not strong there either. But Bucks and under are probably the way I would go if I had to bet it.
Good stuff, Ian, north of the border. And with the change of venue, Ski, does that change anything here? It's obviously reflected in the price with Toronto -2, but what are your overall thoughts here, Milwaukee at Toronto?
I tend to agree with Ian's general thought process. And one thing I'll point out where Bucks, I feel like we're seeing this every game now. Bucks were -6.5, game 1 and 2, and now they're +2.5. So that's a big move. And Bucks, they covered both of those games. They covered the second one easily. As far as from a matchup standpoint, Toronto is far outmatched. From a situational standpoint, it's a great spot for Toronto. I'll read some stats that favor that. 2005 playoffs, unpopular favorites. They're 145, 111, and 57%. Home favorites off a double-digit loss. They're 115, 81, and 5, 59%. Teams down 0-2, home for game 3, 79, 38, and 1, 67.5%. And if you go strictly to the first half, is 28-6, 82.4%. So that's why we see the adjustment for the books with the first half being the same as the full game. And I think if you're liking Toronto, you have to like them early in the first half. They're 16-6 against the spread last 22 first halves. Bucks haven't been playing well early. They came out and played well early the last game. They're 1-6-1 last 8 first quarters against the spread. First halves, I have 12-9 their last 21. So it's been mediocre, and then they come out just like we saw in game 1 and turn it on in the second half, just like we saw from Golden State last night. Just like you said, Drew, that's how I see this game going. I see Toronto winning the first half, and I see maybe Milwaukee coming back for the full game. Full game stats for Milwaukee: when the spread is +1 to +4, Milwaukee 6-1. They're 8-1 as a road dog. They're 6-0 against the spread their last 6 games. So they've been pretty dominant. They're 22, 12-1 versus 55% when teams are greater. And on the other side, we already said we don't really want to bet Toronto on the full game. But when the spread is -4 to -1, they're 6-10 They're 22-26 as a home favorite. They're 15-22-1 versus 55% when teams are greater. They're 1-4 against the spread the last 5. It'd have to be, if you like Toronto, it has to be early. I would say more so the first half. If not, it'll be Bucks full game.
I like the breakdown and the discrepancy between the first half and full game there. Ski is 16-6 Toronto first half ATS so far. So that's very profitable for them, especially because they're coming home. And like Ian said, rowdy environment there at home, change of venue. I think that can point towards Toronto, especially early. Ian, did you want to get back in here?
Yeah, I mean, Pascal Siakam's another guy that he's sort of tailed off too as these playoffs have gone on. We were really, really starting to think he's just taken over now as maybe a guy that's going to be, tremendous NBA player. I think he's still going to be really good, but he's definitely slowed down a little bit. We got to pump the brakes just a little. He's got to, I think, get it back in gear again. You know what I'm frustrated with Siakam right now? Too many threes, settling too much. Drive that rim, attack that glass, get to the tin. I mean, you got to do a little more of that if you're Siakam. Really, you got to do a little bit more of that if you're the Raptors. I mean, we know Lowry's got it in him, that little pit bull that he is to just get to the basket. He can do that when he wants to. Siakam has shown he can do that. Kawhi does it all the time. You don't have to worry about him not doing it. But guys like that settling. I know Danny Green's not an attack the rim guy, but we need other Raptors not just settling for 3 balls that are clearly have not been hitting consistently, let's be honest, since the Philadelphia series in the second round. So be aggressive here. You're down 2-0. You're at home. There's a chance maybe if there's a 50-50 call in this kind of spot, maybe the officials are a little more lenient to the home team in this situation. So be aggressive. Take advantage of that. Go to the basket. Don't settle for 3 balls all the time. Try to draw some fouls. Get some of these Bucks players in foul trouble. Get Giannis in foul trouble. Get him out of there early if you can. Be aggressive here. Your season's on the line basically. Don't just settle for your 3 balls that have been, and you've been missing these wide open shots most of the second round and into this round as well. Be aggressive. If I'm Nick Nurse, that's exactly what I'm telling this team tonight.
And Ski, to piggyback off of something that Ian said there about the refs kind of being more lenient to the home team here, I did want to bring up something to you we haven't really talked about on this show, but it is a betting philosophy in the NBA, really in any sport, but the NBA mostly. And we're looking at the Golden State Warriors up 3-0. We're now looking at Milwaukee up 2-0, knocking on the door of going 3-0. We all know the NBA doesn't, in any sport, I'm not just picking on the NBA, but it is, a business and they want money. They want to sell tickets. They want to see more games in each series. It's just human nature that they'll make more money. Is there anything there to help Toronto tonight as far as, a 50-50 call? Hey, let's help the Raptors. Let's get this to 5. Let's get this maybe to 6 games in this series. Do you see anything there from a betting philosophy in that mindset?
I tend to agree that the NBA wants more games, and I think the books, they need Golden State to win, and they need Toronto to win. I think there's so much futures money on the Bucks that the books need Toronto. So, I mean, I'm not too sure. I don't think they win the series, but I know that they're needed from the books to win. So maybe they'll get some calls here, and they can get this game and extend it a little further. Maybe even win both at home. You never know, but I would definitely say Toronto more so. But also on the same point, I heard Ian touch on Damian Lillard's ribs. It was a play when he dove on the floor, and I want to say Looney landed on top of him. And then after when he got up, you just saw him go like this a little bit. He was like, you could see it was bothering him a little bit. So since then, maybe they didn't come out with the injury report, but I think that's for sure when it happened right there. And Iguodala, I saw somebody in the chat say that he's hurt. He may sit out. Even if the MRI comes back okay, I saw him. I forget who commented this, but they say even if the MRI is okay, Iguodala could still sit out. And that combined with Portland not wanting to get swept out the playoffs again and just having some type of pride and knowing they play well at home, I could even see them winning the game and prolonging the series.
Okay. So you do think that there's something there. There's a couple of comments here, 1 for, 1 against. Devin saying, stop convincing yourselves that Toronto has a chance. That's kind of a funny comment there. And Tomar saying the refs will have a huge impact on this game if Toronto can get physical with Giannis. He's still not a reliable shooter. So could you see the Raptors doing that, Ski, as far as just being more physical with him and making him shoot it from the outside?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what we saw in the first game, and they won for 3 quarters, and then everybody else showed up at the end. So, I mean, that's the game plan. We know Toronto scores a little bit better at home than they do on the road. So, hopefully, everybody else can step up and help Kawhi.
That's the game plan. And to quote the great Mike Tyson, everybody's got a plan until you get hit in the mouth. Ian, anything there to follow up on the refs or any kind of in conclusion here with your betting philosophy on this game?
Yeah, everybody I know here in these parts, the media, fan base, all that, they're screaming and yelling for Marc Gasol to get less minutes because they're frustrated with what he's done in this series and put Ibaka in more. Problem is you need some of that size. You're dealing with Antetokounmpo here in this series. You can't just all of a sudden throw Marc Gasol out to the wolves and say, "Hey, wash our hands, we're done with him." You got to keep him in there. I mean, you got to hope that he's going to eventually give you something more than a 3 for 20 shooting performance like the other night. So from that standpoint, yeah, I know they're frustrated. I get it. But based on the matchup that you're dealing with, like if there was a team that was all small lineup, didn't have to deal with a dominant big, maybe you could make a little adjustment here and go a more concerted effort toward keeping Gasol's minutes in check. But you got a lot of size here on this Milwaukee team, and just like you did the last series when you had to deal with Embiid and Simmons for the Sixers. So it's same thing here. I mean, you still got to match up or try to match up with Giannis. I mean, in this series moving forward, and because he can take over a game if you're going to just vacate that painted area. So that's the concern. I know you're frustrated with Gasol, but it's just one of those situations where you just don't bench the guy. You just don't, which is asinine, which I've heard one person that I consider him a friend, even though I don't agree with him. I think he's a moron for saying that. We got to bench him for the rest of the playoffs. So you nuts? Can't do that. He's a veteran guy. You hope he figures it out and works through it in terms of his shooting. But he's got to give you those other things defensively, in the interior, the low post defense, the rebounding. Because you got to deal with Antetokounmpo on the other side. You just don't yank him out.
Good stuff, guys, all around. In the chat box, Liberty saying blame Drake for the Raptors' issues. We also got a comment that first-round knockout last night, boxing was insane from Michael. Absolutely, man. That was a heck of a punch there. Babano, what's up? Any good player props tonight? We'll hit on a little bit more of this game tonight. We got best bets coming up in just about 4 or 5 minutes. Do want to give props to Ian Cameron yesterday. Best bets. We did go 1 and 2. Ian and myself dropped it. Ski hit his, but Ian put us all. I know Ski was on it. Ian pointed me towards it in the Minnesota game yesterday. They ended up winning 18-4. Big win on the docket. Hats off to you, Ian, pointing us in that direction. Barrios on the hill for the Twins. The Twins, the most surprising team in MLB. Seattle kind of trending the other way. I'm kind of mad at myself for not seeing it, but then I see why. LeBlanc was on the injury report, so my numbers didn't show it as being a bet here. But with Barrios minus 130, the Minnesota Twins, absolutely the right look last night. Hats off to you, Ian. Anything you're seeing real quick here on the MLB boards for today?
Yeah, Sunday MLB is always interesting. It's you always got to be careful. Lineups are always a little dicey on the Sunday card. Guys get rest. Looking ahead to the week ahead. There's also a lot of ballparks. I'm just going to read them off in terms of ballparks. It's a warm day and the wind's blowing out. There's a bunch of them. Philadelphia is one of those parks. Fenway Park in Boston's dealing with wind blowing out. Cleveland's dealing with wind blowing out. Detroit, wind blowing out. And all of these places are dealing with very warm temperatures today. It is like even here where I am, an hour west of Toronto, it is going to be about, I'd say 86 Fahrenheit today, 85. Like it is in a very, very warm day here today. It's like a summer day. And it's going to be like that for a lot of these venues. So the ball is going to be carrying in Philly, Boston, Cleveland, Detroit. I think it's really bad for the pitchers in Cleveland, actually. Baltimore, Cleveland, you look at that matchup. Shane Bieber's good, but he's had home run problems. Okay, you don't want home run problems on a warm day with the wind blowing out. That's a bad matchup. That's a bad profile, I think, for him today. Ramirez, on the other hand, is making a spot start for Baltimore. He's also had problems with the long ball. I know Cleveland's offense can frustrate you. It seems every time I take an over with a Cleveland game, that's when the lineup looks pedestrian, and Cleveland's lineup can look pedestrian sometimes. We know that. They're fits and starts kind of team at the plate, but I think that game has a lot of runs in it. And we talked about Minnesota yesterday. I mean, we were all on it. I'm going to be on the Twins again today. And I know you say Kikuchi here for Seattle's got some upside. He's pitched pretty well lately, but it's a lefty against a Minnesota lineup that's just humiliating pitchers right now. That's what they're doing, essentially. Like, they're just humiliating opposing pitching with how much runs they're putting up on a regular basis. And a tremendous lineup. They've been good offensively. They're now 14 games above 500, Minnesota, 29-15. So we got to start giving them their credit and their respect. This is a damn good baseball team. Kikuchi's been good, but Minnesota is a top 5 team with OPS and batting average against lefties. So it's a good matchup here for the Twins. And all I'm asking for Kyle Gibson is, Seattle's offense has been a little bit sluggish lately. Don't give up a big inning. Keep your team in it. And even if it's tied in the latter innings, I give a big edge to the Twins because their bullpen is just so much better than Seattle. Seattle's got a horrible bullpen right now. Can't get outs in the latter innings. So Minnesota's the hot team. Seattle's the ice cold team. Just keep it simple. At a near pick 'em, I'm going to be on the Twins again.
All right, Ian. Good stuff. Hats off to you again for yesterday's. And Ski, yeah, good. Go ahead, man.
I'm going to be on that too. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Twins, and I talked about teams I'm looking to back over, and Seattle is one of them. Just like Ian said, Twins smash lefties. Seattle's bullpen is terrible. Gibson, he's 3-0 last 3 starts versus the Mariners. As far as a couple of more stats for the over, 14-7-2 at home for Seattle, 14-8 on the road for Minnesota, 8-3 when the line is 9 runs, 7-1-2, 9 runs for the other side. I mean, it's the same situation exactly as yesterday. So I'll be on the same exact bets, Twins and Seattle over. I'm also just looking at a couple of others. Maybe you guys have a quick opinion, but Rangers hit righties pretty good, and Cards struggle against lefties. So I think there's maybe some value at the Rangers at a plus price there. I'm still looking at the Rangers over. I said that was a team that's been going over, and until the number starts catching up to them, that I would try to maybe back there. So I'm looking at those two. And the last look is I was thinking Dodgers game. Cincinnati's not great. They're a good under team, and I think that game could maybe stay under 9.5.
Yeah, Ryu's been good. Rourke on the other side, haven't bet him too much, but we got 9.5 in Cincinnati. I kind of like the Dodgers, maybe run line, not a big run line better, but I like the Dodgers side. Ski, do you like anything sidewise?
I just know it was pretty high, right? It was like, I think minus 180 or something. So I just kind of passed on it.
Okay, good stuff, Ski. And yeah, I guess we can have MLB as part of the best bets. And guys in the chat box, thanks for chiming in. Please smash the like button. We got to throw out best bets now for tonight's NBA or MLB. I guess you can use anything, NHL, Ian, if you want. But follow him on Twitter at Babano. He's Ian Cameron. What do you got for best bets, bud?
Yeah, I know we started this show as NBA, and certainly NBA is the focus of it, but best bets, I'm going to go outside of NBA today because it's for it to be a best bet, it's literally got to be obviously a best bet, one of your strongest plays of the day, if not the strongest. I'm going to go to hockey with it today. San Jose, St. Louis, it's game number 5 of the Western Conference Finals. You've got the San Jose Sharks about $1.30, home favorite, $1.35, total 5.5 in this game. I'm going to keep it very simple. This has been a back-and-forth series. There's been no momentum from one game to the next. And if you watch Game 4 between the Blues and the Sharks, you'll see that St. Louis got the win, but I thought they were badly outplayed from the second period onward after they got the 2-0 lead. They had to hang on for dear life, 2-1. Binnington was absolutely spectacular and did everything he could to thwart off San Jose in that game. I'm not going to question it. It's been a back-and-forth game, zigzag theory to the full extent. The losing teams bounced back, won the next game. San Jose is now 5-0 in their last 5 games off a loss entering this one. They haven't lost 2 in a row in the playoffs, going all the way back to the first round against Vegas. And I think the Sharks at home, $1.30, $1.35 here, they'll get the job done. So go with the Sharks here. In the NHL Western Conference Finals Game 5. San Jose at minus, let's see, best price currently is minus 135, or actually minus 129 at Heritage. Perfect. Even better there. So minus 129 San Jose best bet.
All right, good stuff, Ian. Heading on the ice, San Jose Sharks minus 129 for his best bet. I'm actually going to go to MLB and a lot of stuff that both Ian and Ski touched on. Minnesota Twins minus 105 now, as low as minus 105, minus 107 at Bet Online. So you can get them pretty much almost pick 'em price here at Seattle. I know Kikuchi has been good, but Seattle also leads the major leagues in errors. Their defensive metrics are terrible. This Minnesota lineup smashes lefties. It's like the Houston Astros. They're 1-2, except you just can buy them at a discount here with the Minnesota Twins. So I'm going to keep riding this train. Wrote it yesterday, and Minnesota minus 105 for my best bet. Going to MLB for my best bet. Minnesota minus 105, going with the Twins. Ski Profit on Twitter at Ski Profit. Been great with best bets, great in the NBA. Where are you going with best bets today, buddy?
Before I say my actual best bet, I just want to say it's a prop out here. I talked about how I like this game. It's either Raptors first half or Bucks full game. You can get the prop for the Raptors to just be ahead in halftime and the Bucks to win the game is plus 450. So I think maybe that could be a good look. But as far as my best bet here, if I have to pick between the two, I'm going to go with Raptors on the first half. I talked about the teams down 0-2 going home for game 3 angle. And on the first half, it's 28-6, 82.4%. Raptors are 16-6 against the spread last 22 first halves. Bucks haven't been starting great early, 1-6-1 last 8 first quarters. I could go Raptors first quarter, but I just think first half is a little bit stronger. They're 12-9 last 21 first halves against the spread. So out of the two, if I have to pick one, I'm going to pick Raptors. What is it, minus 2.5 on the first half right now?
Believe so. Let me just double check. Hold on one sec. It's something. It's pretty. You're pretty close with that with the first half.
Yeah, I'm seeing Toronto
Raptors.
minus 2.5, minus 110 across the board.
There you go. Lock me in. That's my best bet.
Okay, Toronto first half minus 2.5 for Ski Profit. I'm on Minnesota minus 105, pretty much pick 'em price there in MLB. And Ian is on San Jose Sharks minus 129 in
I
hockey.
like it, guys. I like it. We got a little sports potpourri going with the best bets. A little basketball, a little baseball, a little hockey. Got everything for you. What do you not want?
Sports potpourri. Ski, did you know what potpourri means? I didn't.
Honestly, I feel like that's the stuff you spray in the in the toilet, right? I don't know.
I have no idea. It must be a Canadian thing or something. But sports potpourri, we got the Sharks minus 129 in hockey, the Twins minus 105 in baseball, and the Toronto Raptors first half from Ski Profit in NBA.
It's basically to provide a fresh scent. It's plant materials. It's basically for a fresh scent potpourri. But apparently, it's also could be used as it's a bunch of different things, like an assortment. It can be used to basically say that potpourri. So that's where that comes from.
Always great, Ian. At Babano on Twitter. We got at Ski Profit on Twitter and myself at Drew Martin Bets on Twitter. Guys, thanks for joining in. This is the NBA Closing Line. We will be back 11 a.m. Eastern on Saturday, so please come join us. For Ian Cameron, Ski Profit, I am Drew Martin. Best of luck with your bets today.
Thanks, everybody.